Now your paper is reviewed, critiqued, and discussed. You will receive a decision. What should you do when you receive the critiques? The revision process may be intense. Remember that you do not need to incorporate every reviewer's suggestion into your revision if you have a good reason for leaving some out. But make it very clear in your cover letter if there are given suggestions to which you did not respond or cannot respond. For example, you could not do further studies because the study stopped at 1 year, so you cannot give follow-up at 2 years because it wasn't budgeted and the patients aren't there. Unless you are strongly opposed to addressing a given point in the manuscript critique, note that you would be willing to make a given change if the editor prefers, even if you said you wouldn't respond. In other words, leave things open because being willing to make changes may make a difference as to whether your revision is accepted or not. Finally, address all the major concerns of the reviewers and editors. You need to include, along with your letter, a detailed response that notes each point made by the editor and each of the reviewers and a statistician if a statistician saw the paper and commented. You will need to follow each statement from a reviewer about how you dealt with it, and be sure to reference the page of the manuscript for each response so that the reviewers, editors, and any statistician will be able to find exactly where you made your changes. Next, be certain to show all of your co-authors the revised version and obtain their input all along the way. Finally, do this in a timely manner. Don't let your paper, if invited for a revision, sit on the shelf so long that the editors say there's no chance you waited too long. Don't simply write, "I have revised the paper," without providing a point-by-point summary. And don't ignore comments you consider irrelevant or foolish. Be sure that you make your responses responsible and respectful and collegial. Also, don't write a revision that is overly long and wordy so that you can put in every comment and a response to it. If you come back with a paper that is twice as long as the paper you submitted and way over the length the journal allows, you will just get that paper back. Finally, if you simply cannot do something that the editors request, for example, provide more data, it is worth asking the editor by email or a phone call if it still makes sense for you to revise the paper versus submitting it to another journal. Finally, some take-home points. You will tend to succeed if you identify an interesting and focused question for which either a positive or negative result will interest readership. Enlist the advice of others in the study design. Do that as you're planning the study. It can be invaluable for the ultimate product. Determine authorship early. Papers can be delayed if different investigators disagree on who should be an author and where they should be in the authorship list. Start writing early and have others provide comments on your drafts. If your friends provide comments, that will be invaluable. And if they can be more ruthless than the hardest reviewer, you will have a terrific product going into submission. Communicate the information from your study honestly and completely. Don't leave things out. If there are signs in a clinical study that something might be important, you may want to put them in even if they are not the main thing. Aim for concise and clear writing. And finally, be sure to target your paper to an appropriate journal and be willing to revise it and submit it elsewhere if necessary. Writing papers can be enjoyable and rewarding. Thank you.